Oh, hi Veronica, how are you today?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay. Nice to see you again.
You too.
And it looks like we're sharing a coffee.
We're sharing a coffee, and the weather is actually quite nice in Sheffield. Uh,
Same here, so it makes a
uh,
difference, doesn't it?
it makes a massive difference. I went out in the morning, even without eating anything, drinking anything, quite grumpy, and it's just that light in my eyes. I was just thinking, please give me energy. Like I need this melatonin, go down. I was just like, and I went all walk. I was grumpy. And I feel like even when I came back, I was still quite grumpy, which is quite unusual for me. Like I really appreciate blue sky, sun, and nature. And I still did with my doggo. But I think it's like an hour later, like I could feel the effects of it. And I think I can feel it now, you
Yeah,
know? Like it's just it's I actually heard someone explain the scientific basis of like the cortisol and what happens. And I was like, Veronica, you're topping it out.
Oh,
The things that we do when we don't feel great,
yeah,
that are backed up by science, and we trust that it'll make us feel better, even though we don't see the effects of it right here, right now.
yeah, absolutely.
Really tough and really driving me for coaching people and for that online course I'm working on.
Yeah,
Something to do with helping people understand that delayed gratification.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and so it brings me to today's session.
Yes,
There's something about making decisions faster.
right. Is it okay? Sorry to interrupt. Is it okay if I might write some notes?
Of course.
Yeah, yeah.
So, something to do with making decisions faster
Mm,
and something to do with the kind of intuition and the inner knowing that is there,
yeah, yeah,
how to recognize it and trust it, right? To follow it and experiment it. I'm such in a good mood. I'm like in a playful way. Playful.
yeah.
Um, I even did like a little online courses, a little bit on intuition. And I remember when I went through it, I had a really positive attitude on life because it was like 10, 15 minutes every day of someone telling me how to be playful and positive and just kind of explain it in a very simple way, naturally. But the person, the host of the course, was really kind of nice and gentle and so on. And I believe in it. And I can probably go back to it and go through it again, right? But I really, it sparked something in me. I feel like that was just the beginning. Like I want to really apply it in my life. And something funny happened, like before the session, we were talking about something, and then we were like, okay, let's have 5 minute break, right? And I went to a bathroom and I looked in the mirror and I'm like, oh my gosh, my cheeks are like super red. And then I'm like, oh, actually, I'm hot. Like I'm kind of sweating, you know? And then I was like, well, I think I got excited,
Yeah.
you know? Like true, and it's weird because it's very physiological,
Yes,
you
yes.
know?
The manifestation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, sometimes I'm like that after a session with my client, for sure. And sometimes I show up to sessions with client and I actually take the top off, the warm
Yeah.
stuff off because I'm like, nah, I'm gonna heat up. And I'm thinking, does it have something to do with my decision making of realizing that, hey, follow that excitement. Like, you feel this now, like, yeah, or maybe you look in the mirror and check your cheeks, like, or
Yeah.
maybe you're getting hot and you have the smiles on smile on your face, clearly like you're quite
Yeah.
happy right now, right? So, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So a lot there, a lot there. You mentioned about decision making. You mentioned about intuition and excitement. Am I right?
Yeah, so something to do with like there's decision to be made, and sure that they can be so broad, right? So broad things. But like and sometimes you have to go like compromise, right? Like, oh, do I spend money on this expensive thing? And maybe super exciting, but it may be super expensive too. Can I afford it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But sometimes, and many times, I think it's just the things I decide on my business or like my niche or and so on. So these are not the things that are necessarily expensive in terms of money. And I have a sense that I could be making some of these decisions quicker. And I
Mm,
doubt myself. And I listened to this video recently, something about coaching business, starting a coaching business, blah, blah, blah. And there are two women, and one of them says, oh, get yourself those professional photos on your website and your social media. And I was like, wow, I've been thinking about having a professional photo shot, not even nothing crazy, just something small. So it's professional. Someone does it for me, tells me how to stand and so on.
yeah.
And I've been thinking about it for so long, and I like dropped the idea for whatever reason, noise, distraction, so many things to do. I've not done it for many, many, many months. But the moment I hear someone who I relatively trust, like clearly they're experienced business owners, I had a sense of like, of course, like I like being professional. This is the core
Mm,
of me. This is how I show up. And it was a good idea. Maybe others don't do that. Maybe you can do it cheaper on your phone. But me, the way I like things, I would like that professional picture there. And I probably even have ideas of how I would like it to look like.
yes.
And then I started doubting, 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 and minimizing it, and then thinking, oh, maybe I'll just take a picture of myself in my own kitchen and make it look nice because then it's cheaper and then I don't know, it's something to do with my, but you get the point.
Absolutely.
Like I'll talk
Absolutely.
myself out of something. So, how can I figure out those decisions that are good, those ideas that I have that are aligned with me? They come from like true aligned me
Yeah.
and follow them through.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah.
So if this was a session that at the end you would get something that was useful to you, how would you know?
I'd definitely be motivated.
Yeah.
Because if things are aligned with me,
Yeah.
I'm motivated and I'm gonna
Yeah.
write it down.
So yeah, motivated. Yeah. Mm,
And I have a few bullet points of how to recognize either feeling or this physiology, something that gives me cues, maybe some sort of check with myself, maybe there's some sort of questions I can ask myself
yeah.
to recognize whether, have I just heard some advice online and I try to follow it because they say it works,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Versus I have an idea or someone gives me an idea, but it's actually aligned with me and it feels good and I'm excited, right?
Yeah.
Motivated. So, like, yeah, how to recognize it in myself.
Yes. So you mentioned about if the idea aligns with what you just said after that. If the
It
idea
just aligns with me and it feels good, right?
with me and
So
feels
it's
good.
just something about that excitement. That's why I mention it.
Yeah.
Because I've not noticed it before. Like I used to call it a little bit that I feel rewarded, like a sense of like, so if I have a coaching client and they had a good session and they smile at the end, I feel like energy, and I feel it makes me feel really good, right?
Yeah.
But I've not actually called it excited necessarily, like the sense of like, oh, my cheeks are red and I'm sweating because something in me, and it's like I find it very interesting that is something, deep in you, so that your body reacts this way
Yeah.
because you feel something. And so if I can recognize that, then I know that it's a good
Right.
decision, that I know I like doing these things, right?
Right.
Then it's the right direction to go because clearly, like, I'm motivated and energized and I
Yes.
want to keep going, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I
So
was
what?
telling,
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Sorry, what you were saying?
Oh, no, nothing, nothing.
No, no.
Um, just something I said to my boyfriend recently that when I realized that my clients come back for more coaching, even though I know they are tired, I know they're busy, I know there's a lot going on for them, but week by week and even for months they keep coming back. It made me feel so good because and I think it's because I watch someone progress and being happy, right? It's my impact, positive impact on another person, right? So
Yeah.
that's that sense of reward.
Yeah. Yeah. So, with the time that we have, because you mentioned about feeling motivated and having there's almost like bullet points of questions that will help you to make sense if the idea is aligned with what feels good. Am I correct?
Yeah, aligned with me. With
Aligned with
So
me.
it's like a personal approach, right? It's
Yes.
tailored to me, not
Yeah.
general advice to everyone, which is
Yeah.
loads of it, right? So I think I consume a lot and I then
That's
try to
right.
follow it, and sometimes it doesn't work, and I don't know whether it doesn't work because I give up or it doesn't work because it's actually not aligned with me. Like it's just not for me, you know?
Okay. Yeah. So, what do you think we need to look more closely that will help you to get into what you are looking for today?
Um, Definitely about this excitement.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, how does it actually feel when it's aligned? And how does it
Mm,
feel when it's not?
yeah,
And I guess there might be some, we might need to leave some space for experimenting. Maybe I won't know straight away. Maybe I do need to try and then come to a conclusion, okay, maybe this is not. And I think that's what's been happening. I think I can be quite hard on myself and be like, oh gosh, I should have persevered, or like
yeah,
clearly it works for other people if I want, good income. I should just persevere with this and
yeah, yeah,
whatever. But and then if it doesn't work and I don't follow up on this, then I feel a bit guilty, right?
yeah,
But if I'm not in this negative state, judgmental, and I actually look at it for what it is and what I've done, I have a more like realistic view on it.
yeah,
And I can tell, well, maybe it's just not for me,
yeah, yeah.
And I'm like kind of like, yeah, I kind of tried, like I've done this and that, you know. So how does it feel? How do I know?
Mm,
Like, yeah, how do I know?
yeah,
Like funny things going on with tennis. It's just so complicated. Somehow it feels good. First of all, once I make the decision, I feel like there's some sort of negotiate. There's a conflict in my head. Okay. Number one, there's conflict.
yeah,
So either I've been doing something and something isn't working and there's a conflict in my head.
Yes.
Yeah. And then I live with it for a while until it's a little bit like getting bigger and bigger. And I have a sense of like, no, I need to change something. This is not working,
Yes, yes,
right?
yes.
And so that's what happened with tennis. It's easy to look at it at tennis because it's like, I don't know, not so as not associated with money or like impact.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
like a
yeah.
hobby, right? And so first of all, I gave myself a little bit of like would you say like a leeway? Almost a little bit like why are you so serious? Why you're so stuck with rules? You know, a little bit of like, well, what happens if you cancel? You know, like what happens if you don't go? Maybe, yeah, maybe you signed up, but you just don't go because you don't feel great, you know?
Yeah,
So a little bit of like not being so hard on myself that I have to know or that I should be grateful or like I should something. It's just being a little bit like flipping it, the view of it, you know, and be I I feel like I should go, right? And then it's like, well, what would happen if I didn't go, right?
yeah, yeah.
And I did that with tennis. And then I spent quite a lot of time thinking and my on my and on with myself on my own. So away from people who would give me the noise. So lots of
Yeah,
advice, suggesting things, right? Away on my own. And then kind of make a decision to take a break. And then I realized once the decision was made, it was a relief.
right, right, right.
And then I was like, oh yeah, I know this guy said this and that one said that, and I know their experience and I love them and I believe them and they're right, but they don't know all about me, everything
Yeah,
about me as a person and so on. And eventually, and I make a decision for myself about myself,
yes,
quite intuitive. I feel this way and I've tried this and that, quite logical actually, quite informed actually.
yes, yes.
And eventually I'm like, no, I think I'm gonna do this. And then when I do it, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's the right thing for sure. And and having a sense of this rigidness that it's not rigid. So I don't have to say to myself, only a week break, like after a week you need to go back. I was like, I don't know, maybe a week, 2 weeks, maybe a month. Well, actually, what would happen if I took a break for like 2, 3 months and I come back like to tennis like in spring, let's say? What would happen? And I realize
Yeah.
nothing, and perspective also a little bit. There's like more space, then suddenly I'm detached from it. And I'm like, actually, well, nothing would happen and I can still keep playing and it's still a hobby and everything is fine, basically.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah, because we start this conversation talking about motivation, intuition, excitement, and when excitement fills a line, what what you feel important to you. And tell me if I'm correct in my observation, that your excitement feels aligned. What is personal to you, because you mentioned about being tailored. Tell me if I'm right in my observation.
Yeah, and so the way I see it, it's aligned with the things that I like, that bring me joy,
Yeah,
that bring me energy, that is aligned with my values, right? So my
right.
personality and temperament and values, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's why I get excited. So for me, being excited is a symptom of what is truth for me.
yeah, 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 yeah. You mentioned personality and values.
Yeah.
Yes,
Surely, like, if I have a client and I
yeah,
watch them grow, there is some sort of value about growth for sure,
yeah,
change and being strong and working
yeah, yeah,
together, connection and a million other, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just that this is very complex, deep stuff, right? And every time I make a decision, I'm not going to be thinking of like what value is aligned with this decision, or what isn't. But there's certain feeling that comes with it, right? And it's like I do try. So what I do try to do is I ask myself, does it feel like freedom or like a cage?
Okay.
So that has been very helpful. Because that freedom, it makes you feel that I think that motivation, expansion, and it's like that creativity, like belief and possibilities, it comes from this expansion. So when it feels good, you feel like almost like you can fly, right?
Yeah.
But it's like when there's that conflict and something is wrong, it makes you feel like rigid, like in a cage, like something is like you're not your true self. Something
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
not right. It's not sitting right, and
Yeah.
it's like almost contracting. Like so I would like put my arms together and be like, oh, something is wrong, right? Like
Yeah.
don't know how to explain it, but
Yeah.
something about expansion and contraction.
Yeah.
It's like how it feels, right? But yeah, but sometimes it's more complex, right? Like so yeah, if I make a decision that some I don't know, I'm creating something and I want to go it this way or that way, I can think about it. Oh, does it feel as freedom or as a cage, right? So I make sure that I go the right direction, right?
Yes. Yes.
But sometimes it has something to do with maybe my partner or like, someone is involved in this or money is involved in this.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So so it brings in the communication. So if someone is involved in this
Mm.
or money, so if it's a person, there has to be communication.
Yes.
And if it's money, I feel like if it's money, it's something to do with writing it down. Like I did write down the other day, like a few different things. Um, so it's almost a little bit like brainstorming the different options, right?
Yeah.
And seeing them on a piece of paper, right? So
Yeah.
they're not just, entangled in my head. And then looking at like, okay, so what's the difference in price, for example, right? If I wanted to do
Absolutely.
this, like sometimes it's about a trip that I want to make or like a course I want to take.
Yeah.
So writing it down, check the price. And sometimes the price is like massively different. And sometimes it can be like a compromise, right? I can find something
Right.
in the middle, or I can just go for something cheap if it feels right, right? I think the conflict might sometimes go from, I really, really would love to do this, but for example, I can't afford it, right? If it's about money,
Yeah.
or someone who I love don't want it or can't or whatever, right? So there is like an outside factor.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm. So if it's a person, it's definitely about communication and talking through with thinking about it and trying to do it together. But if it's about money, I don't know. It's something to do with like how much risk do you want to take?
Right. Right.
Or even not just that would be the secondary question. Maybe the first one is how much no do you want to take? How much how risky is this? Like actually, what's the risk that I'm taking? What's the reward? right? So it's like
Yeah,
people would say it's like low-bearing fruit activity, for example, right?
yeah,
So let's say if I spend this money on this thing, what do I get from it? Am I happy to then pay that money for what I'm gonna get out of it, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
How risky is it? What are you getting getting from it
Mm,
at the end? Is it worth the price then for you?
yeah.
Hmm. It feels like the answer would be different each time depending on many circumstances. Like maybe I should have the list of questions, written it down,
Yeah,
and each time reflect separately again and again how it feels right now. Um, how much risk am I willing to take right now?
yeah.
Is it worth right now? Right?
Yes, yes,
Mm.
yeah.
Um, I am surprised that I came up with these questions. I like them a
Mm,
lot.
yeah.
Um, I'm surprised I came up with this difference between money and if it's a person involved, like the external factor.
Yeah.
External. I'm surprised with the things I came up with, basically.
Yeah.
Like, I did not know this.
You've been
Well,
doing
did
a
I?
lot of thinking, absolutely, and I'm following you in you trying to come up with almost like what you were expecting, a tailored approach.
I know, right? Yeah, but it's like, how
Very good.
funny is this? It's like I've just said I didn't know this. Did I? Because, well, it came
Mm,
just from me. Like,
it
you've
came
not
from
said
you.
it. You just asked an open question, and I'm like, oh, yeah. Um,
Yeah,
so there are external fact. Okay, okay. They are feelings involved,
yeah,
right? And it's something to do with my physiological reaction, a smile on my face. Maybe I'm excited, motivated, feels like freedom, expansion,
yeah,
possibilities, right? All positive, right? So that's about feelings. And then if there are some external factors, then it's almost like it needs to be a little bit more rational, right? Like
yeah, yeah.
feelings are involved, sure, but maybe I need to communicate with the other person, make sure it's a team effort, right? Or if it's money, I need to be careful. Um, yeah, that's quite powerful actually. With the questions as
Mm,
well.
yeah.
I'm just trying to think of like this is a very kind of like universal way of approaching any decisions that I make, right? So I'm just thinking like, is this universal enough? Like if it was tennis, yeah, still a little bit of money involved, the feelings definitely. Mm, yeah, something, there's one more thing to take into consideration.
Yeah,
There's rigid. Oh, I'm gonna write this word rigid. I don't know if there's a word rigidness, but
yeah. I know what you mean.
yeah,
I know what you mean.
experimenting. So to not put pressure on myself, I need to remember to not be so rigid because I think I like rules and I'll set them up and then I'll stick to it and I'm gonna be so harsh on it that it's actually making me feel worse, right? When there's no need for them. No need,
I
like who
understand.
cares if I'll go to the tennis class or not, right? But I'm like, no, I signed up and I paid, so So I wrote down experimenting to give myself a little bit of that leeway to be like, okay, maybe sometimes you won't know, maybe you're stressed, when
Yeah.
maybe whatever. Maybe you are in a difficult situation. So experimenting, maybe there's like maybe there's a small step or steps you can take in one direction and then reevaluate if it works.
Mm.
Because I feel like this is this journey of how I try to show up on social media to promote my business and trying, and then suddenly discovering this life coach directory and being like, oh, I love it. Like, and it just feels like, I don't know, just the moment it's someone replied and I signed up and I was like, oh, I love this one. It's like the sense of instant. It's instinctual, it's instant.
Yes.
Like something shows up and I have this like
Yeah, yeah.
almost like what do you call it if you do
Um,
um
because there is an energy there when you
like almost like a shock,
yeah, yeah,
positive shock, positive surprise,
yeah, yeah.
instant positive surprise. Yeah, like very positive shock that something else is possible. And
Absolutely.
mhm.
So I'm just thinking because you've been doing a lot of work today, and I have to commend you for that. You've been doing a lot of figuring out. So what do you think has been the most helpful to you today in our session?
It's just that there are certain things in our heads that are vague and not organized. They're just like untangled something of all the complexity of, I don't know, the world.
Yeah,
And then actually you can organize it a little bit to make it clearer, to have better understanding of what it actually is.
yes,
That I've called it that there are actually internal factors I can look at, and there are external factors, and it's just organizing it somehow
yeah,
that it calms you down so it doesn't feel so vague
yeah,
and it doesn't cause overwhelm because of it. So
yeah.
it's not that racing thoughts going in many different directions. It's just like narrowing it down, and you're like, oh, now that it's narrowed down, and it brings you a little bit of relief, and like, oh, actually, maybe it's not that difficult, like just
Yeah.
which I think is really the power of coaching, of journaling, reflecting. But I think coaching actually maybe because sometimes you need those questions, right? Someone to ask the
Mm.
right question at the time.
With what the time that we have, and I'm thinking about the end of the session because you mentioned about organizing and figuring it out. How do
Mhm.
you think that would look like after this conversation that you are in that place?
Um, but you mean in a place where it works?
You mentioned about this realization of you can feel overwhelmed,
Yeah,
and there is something about organizing,
yeah.
and you mentioned figuring it and like
Narrowing down, yeah.
exactly that helps you, and I wonder how that would look like after a session to keep that as a way of navigating
It
things.
has to be written down.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's either I talk to you and say it out loud,
yeah,
an outlet.
and
When
yes,
it's not the racing thoughts, different directions in a head, it's like tangible somewhere, it's either said or written.
Yeah.
That's how the organization starts. And even if it's a messy written, like a brain dump, people call
Yeah.
it brain dump, right? Or brainstorm. So write it down in any way, almost like a whiteboard, right?
Yes.
Just put a sticky notes, million ideas, and then from there, you're like, oh, okay, cluster it maybe, or like organize it based on something, internal, external factors. So writing it down.
Writing it down. Anything else that will be helpful to you, Veronica?
Well, talking to a friend, right?
Mm,
Whoever it might be,
yeah.
whether it's on the phone to someone or to my partner. I feel like I put too much pressure on my partners, and I'm like, maybe to my sister this time. Maybe I won't talk about this thing to my partner.
Yeah.
Maybe to my sister. So something to do with an outlet,
An outlet.
outlet, letting it out.
Yeah.
So it's either said or written down, and when it's said to a friend, could
Yeah.
be, my mom, it's fine. Yeah, it's like therapy, right? Like you can sign up to therapy, stop burning people. Like, no, but journaling is very powerful.
Yeah.
And when it's something rational, like I need to be like I identified I need to be more rational, for example, when it's money involved. When money is
Yeah.
involved, right? So it's quite easy to write it down. Yeah.
So what do you think might get in the way? Because you mentioned a couple of times journaling, writing it down to help to organize yourself. How, what do you think might get in the way?
So I'm looking around. There's a lot of things that I write down. They're not necessarily, hmm, there's a lot of things that I write down. Maybe I've been doing it already a bit.
Yeah.
Lots of notes, notebooks. I write on books. I never used to give myself permission. And since I gave myself permission to write on books, oh my God, so much. Um, some of it, it's not full sentences. So I feel like there's something about journaling as well, just to writing whatever is on your mind, right? So there's one thing, oh, I need to make a decision, and I'll write down different options. Very strategic of like, oh, I need to make a
Yeah.
decision, right? There's something to do with just writing full sentences. I feel like this, or I want to do that, but I don't know, for sure. I don't know. It's kind of funny because I think when I write things down, it's like this outlet. But I think it's quite easy to forget it then, you know? Like, and I think I have so many notes. I'm looking at them, so many, that I'm actually overwhelmed by the amount of notes that I have, right?
Right. Right.
And it's like, and I think it's not actually that often that I look back at them, depending on what it is. Um, you know what? Maybe I need some sort of deadline, like a tangible something. What is the result? And I've listened a podcast episode about that. So what is the result of your thinking?
Right. Right. What
Right?
is
So
the result of
I'm a
thinking?
great thinker. And maybe that's why I write so much. Because I am a great, and I'll go deep and I'll go through all the potential possibilities, overthinking often. That's why I struggle with decision making, probably. Overthinking, right? But then I'll write it down and I let it go. And then I move on with life. And then I'm like, oh, well, I've still not made that decision, right? It's
Right.
still not done.
Right.
Right. I'll leave it at this. I'll figure out what it is, whether I'll put something in the calendar, like today decide, right? Or like, or just like a tracker, like maybe it's just a mental thing. Remember about the result, and that result, it's almost like it loops back. It's like, what's the intention, right? So
Yeah.
it's a little bit like, what are you trying to achieve by doing this thinking, right? Are you achieving something, or are you just ruminating, or like, you
Yeah. Yeah.
know,
That makes sense.
thinking over and over again and it leads nowhere?
Yeah.
Hmm.
That makes sense.
Something, outcome, intention, result, what come, yeah. Hmm. Yeah, it would probably need to figure out how it would actually look like in real life. But it's quite a big one. That is something new.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel tired now.
No, you've been doing a lot of thinking. You've been doing a lot of thinking today, figuring things out.
Mm,
Um, so I'm aware of the time.
yeah.
What is the big takeaway from today?
Um, Two things. That when I reflect for long enough, I'll actually notice the things I have done, you
Yeah,
know? Like I just don't see them. They're just like somehow elusive. And it's almost like you're asking me a question and I'm like, writing it down is a good way, you know? And then I look around and I'm like, well, actually, I've been writing down a lot, actually. And I even walk around with my phone and sometimes I talk to like the mobile app that transcribes what I say, you
yeah,
know? So I didn't actually like, I don't know. I struggled with the amount of notes that I have, but I never realized that actually this is a certain way of me processing things, maybe organizing my thoughts and so on, right?
yeah,
And I don't, and the second thing is there's always something that you might be missing, that you can figure it out, but maybe you're missing it just right now. And if you talk about it long enough without running in circles, so in a coaching session, you don't run in circles, right?
yeah,
You
yeah,
follow the conversation, it's expanding, right? So if I talk long enough, I notice something that I might have been missing. And it's that thing that after I've been thinking, I needed something like a result, like some sort of outcome, something comes out of it.
yeah,
Unless it's like morning pages and there's nothing supposed to come out of it apart from
okay, yeah,
release from overthinking, right?
yeah,
So that's something new. I did not know I needed that. And I'm like, yeah, that's it. I'm like, that's the main thing. Like, I need an outcome, a decision made, something booked, maybe a flight booked. You know, if I'm planning that trip, just book it, you know? And I
yeah,
think that is the key to my problem.
yeah, yeah,
That is the key. I think I postpone it. I don't do it right there and then it's like, oh, then I start doubting it, you know, and then I'm like,
yeah,
oh, maybe I shouldn't, you know, and I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, that's the key to all of this. Like the whole conversation, that's what's the key.
Oh, and I love your energy now because we started this conversation talking about feeling excited, and I'm really picking up on your energy now.
Yeah. Um,
Oh,
it's just that the positive way of looking at how complex we are, the thinking, you know, and then coming to something and like, oh my God, that's it. Couldn't I figure it out 10 years ago? Like,
no.
yeah.
So, is this a good place to end?
Yes, thank you.
No, thank you.